What's good with y'all, man? It is your boy David. We are back with another reaction video. Today we are reacting to Gen Z inherited a scam economy. I mean, with all the sports betting and all the other bullshit going around in the AI shit, I'm more inclined to believe that low-key American Gen Z did probably inherit a scam economy, honestly, because it's not looking too good out here, man. It's really hard to get anything on these streets. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, make sure I like and subscribe. Make sure I get to 1,000 subscribers. The work is never finished. Let's get straight to it.
In 1720, a joint stock company called the South Sea Company caused what is now considered one of the first major financial bubbles in modern history. Designed as a way to reduce Britain's national debt and help improve its trade and profits in the Americas, the company was granted a trading monopoly within Britain. Due to the
And they became the East India Trading Company, huh?
immense profitability of the African slave trade to the Spanish and Portuguese empires in the previous 2 decades, it seemed like a no-brainer that a monopoly over the industry would only continue fostering this trend. The South Sea Company started offering those who bought stock a ridiculous 6% interest. But after the War of the Spanish Succession ended in 1713, the predicted trade explosion never materialized, and Spain limited the amount of trade allowed, additionally taking a percentage of the profits. Someone needed to step in to assure hungry investors that everything was in fact okay, even though they were almost assuredly going to lose their
I was gonna say they're gonna lose their fucking money. What the fuck do you do? They just stopped the trade, or did it? They slowed it down and are taking profits. Like it's actually over. So what the fuck did they possibly do? And by the way, I'm not gonna lie, my heart breaks every time I hear shit about like slavery and shit, bro. Like I just can't imagine being ripped away from my family and being made to work on some white man's fucking fields. That shit is fucking crazy, bro.
money, and what better way to do that than through the hype of a king? The British government and royal establishment, including the king himself, backed the company in 1718, inflating the stock to unprecedented heights and sending the price soaring to extreme levels, even though the company was not making anywhere near the profits it had promised. What they were really doing to keep it propped up was trading increasing amounts of their own stock, and people within the company even began bribing friends to purchase shares in order to inflate the price and keep it high. Do I smell a bubble?
Man, I know what I smell is insider trading. I don't know much about like economic stuff for that deeply, so I don't know.
With its rising success, the company ended up purchasing the national debt, propelling the stock price to an absurd £1,000, roughly the equivalent of £200,000 to £300,000 today. Even
Damn.
Isaac Newton decided to throw thousands into the stock. But in 1720, the mirage finally came crashing down. The bubble burst, the stock plummeted to £124, and due to what is referred to as a speculation mania, there was widespread financial ruin and social unrest in the streets. Though the crash led to the Bubble Act being passed, which forbade the creation of joint stock companies without the permission of a royal charter, it's not as if this act has stopped people in the modern day from pulling off conniving schemes like this nearly every single day. Almost everything in our economy now feels like an inescapable bubble, one we have to participate in unless we want to stay broke and miserable. So why are things set up like this?
Especially AI, bro, because AI is too speculative, bro. If that shit don't hit, bruh, trillions of dollars are going down the drain. If that shit don't hit, bro, they're about to lose so much money.
How did we get to this point? And if our entire economy is set up on scams and speculation, is there any way to avoid its inevitable destruction?
Is that even a real economy? You know, based on nothing but speculation and scam, is that even a real functioning economy? Right? Because the United States, all they got is oil. And you know, if Saudi and all these other places don't really want to deal in US dollars, the United States is gonna lose all of its bro, it's the United States is gonna turn to fucking, I don't know, worse than Canada. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be bad.
Let's try to explore those questions in this video. First, let me clarify what I mean when I say scam economy, because when I'm saying that, I don't mean that literally everything is a scam. I mean that we've built a system where value has become increasingly disconnected from reality, where making money is no longer about producing.
That was one of the best ways I can put it. The value of the economy is disconnected from the reality of the situation. Like, niggas will say, oh my god, business is booming, the economy is up, yada yada yada, niggas can't get jobs. But the economy is up? How? How? That don't even make no sense. What the fuck?
producing something actually useful, but rather signaling value by selling a story that someone else will buy into later. If we look at the past, when you bought a stock in, let's say, a railroad company, especially in the early stages, you were quite literally funding its expansion. The more stocks people bought in the company, the more money they could use to build physical tracks, trains, and infrastructure that would move goods across the country. If more people used the railroad, the company made more money. If the company made more money, you
made more money, right?
Got paid. The main reason that people bought stocks mostly in the past was not to sell them, it was to get...
It was like to leave a mark, to basically like get part of the company so that they could raise their own, like, to get more money, so they could become more successful within the company. It wasn't to sell the stock. Right now, most billionaires, the stock that they have is basically just leverage to get more money. They're selling it so they can get more money. You know what I'm saying? When you got a stock in the past, you weren't supposed to sell it. You were supposed to hold on to it so you could like make more money within the company. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so crazy.
Paid. Almost every company had dividends, aka a distribution of the corporation's profits to shareholders, and would distribute those profits directly through these payouts. The value of the stock was tied to how much the business actually made. So, in other words, there was a clear connection between owning a stock and owning a piece of something real. But over the years, that connection started to weaken. Due to the rise of easily accessible trading platforms such as Robinhood or Webull, anybody with even a little bit of pocket cash could begin to buy or sell stocks in the biggest or smallest publicly traded corporations in the world. And though on the surface, giving average people this sort of power is a good thing, the inevitable outcome is that stocks kind of start to work like chips on a casino, where the price is driven by how many people are willing to buy into it next. The clearest example of this is what is known as a meme stock, and if you're around my age, you probably already know what this is.
Oh yeah, GameStop, I remember that shit, man. Niggas did not want that hoe to go, so they just started buying more stock of GameStop. That shit was crazy.
It's a stock that gets pumped by stories and hype around a company that isn't actually profitable at all. In 2021, GameStop became the ultimate poster child for meme stocks. By that time, GameStop, the once childhood heaven...
And they fell off because nobody was buying physical copies of games anymore. I don't remember... The last time I think I saw a physical copy of a game was when I had a PS3. Right? As a nigga with a PC, I don't really have to buy physical copies of anything. I don't even think my PC has a fucking CD player. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't... You know?
For buying video games was failing miserably as digital downloads became the norm. Seeing this play out in real time, hedge funds decided to short the stock. If you aren't familiar with what that means, when you short a stock, you're essentially betting that it will continue to fail, and the more it fails, the more money you make. GameStop became one of the most widely shorted US companies, with short interest exceeding 100% of the available float. But then the unthinkable happened. Well, maybe not so unthinkable in our internet era. Investors on the Wall Street Bets subreddit organized a coordinated buying spree to force the price up and squeeze the short positions. As the price began to rise, hedge funds that had bet against the company were forced to buy shares to cover their losses, which only pushed the price even higher. This created a feedback loop, and the stock shot up over 1,500% in a matter of weeks. But here's why this really matters as it pertains to this video. Obviously, nothing about GameStop actually changed. It was still a failing business, and it wasn't making any profits. The only thing that actually changed was its story. That story ended up being so powerful that a select few are still deluding themselves into believing that the company will soon be saved. And as a result, they never sold their stocks in the company, even when it came plummeting down and they lost thousands of dollars. What this reveals to us...
I should have sold that shit immediately, bro, because realistically speaking, like, yeah, it was a good story and it boomed, but GameStop is still a failing business. The idea is, yeah, it had this moment, but it's still gonna die. It's like when real people die and they have like this moment of euphoria and they're happy and blissful, then the next day they're fucking gone. It's kind of like that, bro. It's like it had its moment. Its star was bright. Still got killed though. You know what I'm saying?
Is a growing trend that has proliferated throughout our entire economy, one that exposes just how much of this system and even our own beliefs can become entirely detached from reality, driven by what enough people can be convinced that something might be. I really hope that anybody watching this who wants to start a business is doing it in a legitimate way, one that genuinely provides some sort of solution to a real problem that people have. Around the same time that the GameStop craze fizzled out, a new contender for biggest scam was at the forefront.
Bro, NFTs. Oh, I remember them. I remember them days. Everybody, all the famous celebrity motherfuckers had NFTs. Snoop Dogg had one. Eminem had one. Nigga, like, But them niggas was some scamming ass motherfuckers, man. I can't even lie.
Of internet media, NFTs. God, I sure am fucking glad this era of the economy is over, although what we're gonna get into a little bit later, prediction markets aren't any better. But let's go down memory lane and do a little retrospection to reinforce the point, shall we? Released to the public on April 30th, 2021, Bored Ape Yacht Club produced a limited amount of randomly generated digital images of apes as non-fungible tokens. This meant they could be bought and sold using cryptocurrency, with ownership recorded on a blockchain, a public ledger that shows who owns each token, while the price was entirely determined by what someone else was willing to pay. As hype spread across social media and cryptocurrency was touted as the currency of the future, many celebrities began buying into these digital images with no inherent cash flow or productive use. They would promote their purchases on social media, which drove hype and therefore the price of them even further. At its peak, one of the most expensive Bored Apes was sold for over $3.4 million worth of Ethereum. So
For a picture of a fucking monkey, nigga?
So what did you get by owning this image? Perhaps a productive asset you could actually do something with? No, of course not. It was merely a signal of status. And in a world where how you portray yourself on digital platforms determines your success, status, something not tangible at least in any physical sense, is king. Of course, NFTs include
Like, status is so useless because it's always just based on vibes. It's so useless but so useful because people's perception of you can drive engagement and get you more money. But it's so useless because it, like, that shit is so wishy-washy and flippy-floppy. Like, bro, it don't even... Like, oh, it's like getting money off vibes. That's not tangible at all, bro.
The Bored Ape Yacht Club suffered the same fate as every other product or company built on speculation and hype. They crashed hard and investors lost millions of dollars in the process. This seems to be the general consensus for how just about every single big company or corporation creates the things that they sell now. Because as awful as it sounds, the ones who create the original hype are rarely the ones who suffer from the consequences of it. I mean, they usually do, but not before they've already made so much money that it doesn't even really matter that it fails. It is here where we can begin to ask the question, who actually benefits from a system like this? Because if it were catastrophically bad for everyone, then surely these companies...
They wouldn't do it, but they keep doing it because it's not catastrophically bad for everyone. The niggas at the top of the pyramid always get the bag. You know what I'm saying?
These wouldn't keep enabling it, right? Right? Well, the truth is, it isn't bad for everyone. In fact, for a very specific group of people, this system does exactly what they want it to do. It lets them get in, make a bunch of bread, and get out. A lot of modern companies are built around this exact idea, not necessarily to become long-term profitable businesses, but to grow fast enough and tell a compelling enough story to be sold at a higher valuation. This is what's commonly referred to as the venture capital.
Like, it's not really even about making a sustainable business that'll last anymore. Nobody's really looking for that. They're looking to get in, make a bag, get out. Get in, make a bag, get out. And honestly, to be quite realistic with you, with how capitalism is as a system, as a framework of, you know, of an economy, it's really smart. I would do some type of shit like this. It's really smart. You get in, you get out, you get your money, and you just go about your day, you know?
Exit model. You can see this play out everywhere. Take Uber, for example. When it went public in 2019, it had never turned a profit and lost over $8 billion that year. But early investors and insiders were still able to cash out billions as the company hit a valuation north of $70 billion. Or we can look at WeWork. At one point, it was valued at $47 billion, entirely because they had sold a successful story around the business. And when that story collapsed, so did the valuation. But the founder, Adam Neumann, still supposedly walked away with hundreds of millions of dollars. And today, we're seeing some of the largest companies preparing to go public at massive valuations, despite not being profitable at all. In fact, a new wave of IPOs...
Like, how does that even work? Because the value, it's just based off, okay, we think it'll do this much in actual profit, but it never does that much ever. But the niggas who still did it, leave. We leave with huge amounts of money. Like, what the fuck do you mean this is going to be worth $3 trillion? That's a lie. This shit not going to hit. This shit might not even hit $1 billion, bruh. Like...
in 2026 is expected to add around $3 trillion in market value, even though many of these companies are still losing billions of dollars annually. Kinda sounds like the entire AI bubble that's happening right now, doesn't it? And if the market is signaling to owners and founders that hype is where the profit is, what do you think that does to everything and everyone else? Everything and everyone else starts to destabilize and become more volatile. Thus comes the zenith of the scam economy. Prediction markets, aka the gamblification of everything. Tarek Mansour, the CEO of Kalshi, which is one of the biggest prediction markets in the world, made his mission statement abundantly clear.
The long-term vision is to financialize everything and create a tradable asset out of any difference in opinion. And I think if you do build a general purpose exchange that can resolve differences of opinions on anything, like, the TAM is quite massive.
In other words, if it can somehow turn a profit, even if it's just speculation in its purest form, you bet your ass we're gonna find a way to monetize it. Now
Bro, you know it's funny, bro. I can't even be mad at a nigga trying to monetize, bro. Like, this world runs on money so deeply that the lust and the greed for it, I used to sit back and think, damn, that's crazy that you do that for money, right? But then I sat back and graduated high school and started needing money, and I was like, man, I might do damn near anything for a bag, nigga. Almost. It depends on what it is. Like, making a gambling company, hell yeah, I might. No cap. Like, what the fuck, nigga? A bag? A bag? And plus, I get to control how much niggas win. Because if niggas, let's say I make a gambling app and niggas win too much, I could kick them off my app immediately. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because most times y'all gonna lose. That's the thing about this gambling shit. Especially sports betting. Most of the times, you'll win, but you'll lose more than you'll win at the end of the day. Because it's a business, and I gotta make my profits back. Lame man, nigga.
Everything we discussed earlier has been given a platform to proliferate into its final form. You want to speculate how many times Lawrence O'Donnell will say Trump during his show and make a bit of money based on that prediction? Just deposit your money and start betting today. You want to bet on how much soybean prices will be on Thursday at 5 p.m. EDT? Give them your money, man. After all, how else are you gonna—
That is some crazy ass speculation. Who's checking that? That's fucking nuts.
Make money in this economy? By being a good person with good morals?
No, you can't. Being a good, like, unless you're like, because even then, even if you try to go into a reasonably, like, honest career, like being a doctor or something like that, of that nature, the amount of money you'll need to do that, and like the amount of student loan debt, all that type of shit, you could be a doctor making hundreds of thousands of dollars and still be in student loan debt. You know what I'm saying? For like 20 years. You know, so it's like, it's a lot, bro. And like, that being honest and being a good person shit don't work, nigga. It don't work. Because if it worked, people would be doing it. Human beings, 8 times out of 10 will only do what works for the situation that they're in. And I trust that if humans are seeing that I trust that if humans see that being a good person doesn't work, they're probably not gonna do it. Point blank, period.
Trying to develop sustainable skills that will—
But people are inherently selfish.
Undoubtedly take
inherently selfish and lazy.
Longer time than scamming people and will lead to more lasting fulfillment and joy and success, which is really the antidote to most people's nihilism and doomerism. Nah, I think I'll just gamble. Everything you consume at every location is placing ads.
But I ain't gonna lie, I would never gamble though. I don't fuck with that gambling shit. I just won't do it. It's not for me. Like, it's not for me. You know, I can't sit here and lose $1,000 and be okay. I'm gonna be mad as fuck. I would never.
It's for gambling and prediction markets in your subconscious, conditioning you to believe that this shit is harmless and normal. And I would argue that the group that feels this and that is affected by this the most right now is Gen Z. This is the only version of the
particularly the white niggas, I ain't gonna lie, they feel that shit.
Economy we've ever known. We didn't grow up watching people build stable careers over decades and slowly accumulate wealth through ownership and production. We grew up watching people get rich overnight through crypto, stocks, going viral, and make money online, courses, and scams. So naturally, Gen Z's perception—
but the niggas who fell for that make money online shit, y'all are so fucking stupid, bro. Cause like, nigga, like, why is he selling you a course on how to do what he's doing when he could just do it himself? Why is he, you are the lick. You're the lick. You're the lick.
money is going to be one of ambiguity, vagueness, and
Like, you're the mark, my nigga. He's selling the course to you so you can pay into it and he can make the money off it. You're the lick. You're the mark.
fallacy. If the only way you can get rich or even make a reasonable amount of money is to catch something at the right time, start a grift, or abandon your morals, then of course it's understandable why more and more young people would be influenced to pursue these types of things more frequently than they did in the past. How we think and act is almost always a direct reflection of how the economy enables us to think and act. So if we inherited a world full of scams, we become the scam, the representation of impatience, imbalance, breadth over depth, status over connection, and symbols over substance. And this is clearly reflected in the slew of graphs and statistics showcasing Gen Z's record high depression, anxiety, and unalive rates. So what happens next? Do we accept the scam economy's inevitable collapse, waiting for its imminent doomsday where the dollar loses all value and we're all forced into poverty? Well, I don't think it's as unavoidable as you might
It probably won't get that bad, but the US dollar will lose a lot of fucking value. I'm not gonna lie, bro. It could be over.
think. And there are ways to fight against this garbage system, actions you can take right now without any sort of influence or power. First, you need to put more friction between you and speculation. If you participate in any sort of gambling or prediction markets, or try to time the stock market by betting on trading apps all the time, get rid of them immediately. These systems are designed to make you feel like you need to be in on something, like there's some sort of opportunity you're missing. They are quite literally programmed to be as psychologically addicting as possible so that you spend money on shit you don't need, just like almost everything else in the economy.
That is one thing I will say though. If you really want to start living a better, happier life, get rid of that sports betting and gambling shit, bro. For real, you will feel better. Okay, sometimes watching basketball isn't about a nigga hitting his parlay. Sometimes it's about the love of the game. Watching football, sometimes it's about the love of the game. You gotta love the game sometimes, bro. You can't just sit there and be like, man, if this nigga don't hit, he's a bitch. He should die. No, he's a human being. He's a human being, and sometimes it said he was gonna make four to five threes. He did. He only made 2. He's a human being. He's human. Sometimes he's only gonna be able to make 2. I'm sorry. Like, what the fuck?
Is no opportunity you are missing. Most of that movement is noise, and the more you react to it, the more you lose. Second,
and by most, he means 98% of that is noise. I'm not gonna lie. Most of that is noise.
in regards to investments, if you're going to have investments, just automate the boring stuff. Instead of trying to time the market or chase the next big thing, just set up automatic investments into broad index funds, weekly, bi-weekly, or whatever works. By doing this, you remove emotion from the equation entirely, and all this hype buying is based around arousing your emotions. Building off of that, you really should try to do more things that ground you. And
I do want to, I'm not gonna lie, I do want to get into more investing though. I can't lie. I'm gonna really start investing into my money into the stock market, into more S&P broad index funds, you know, something more tangible, right? I'm gonna look into that for sure, you know, because I like the stock market could be good. It could be a good thing, you know. It doesn't have to be hype and gambling. It can really be a sustainable way to build money towards the future, you know.
allow your brains.
But at the end of the day, stocks is kind of a rich man's game, and because the only way to really make anything back from something like the S&P 500 is to like have Warren Buffett or like millionaire type of money to make some real like hit back in that. But still, it's still a good practice though, you know. Not gonna lie.
Systems to activate before you make an impulsive purchase. Personally, what I like to do if I feel the urge to buy something, whether that's a stock or a course or some overpriced product, I will wait 24 hours until I make a decision. Most of the time that urgency disappears because it was all about how that thing made you feel in the moment. You can also start writing things down before you act. Ask yourself, why am I buying this? What problem does it solve? Would I still want this if nobody else knew I had it? I know it sounds stupid, but just putting your thoughts,
Especially that last question, would I still buy it if nobody else knew I had it? That last one right there is actually fucking essential. If nobody knew you had that fucking NFT, would you buy it? If the answer is no, why the fuck are you buying it? That's why NFTs failed in the first place. That third question is exactly why NFTs failed in the first place.
into words forces your brain to slow down and think before it reacts. Also, really, really important, limit how much time you spend consuming opportunity content. The constant stream of this is how you get rich, this is the next big thing, don't miss this, is a stream of scams.
Because when it comes to building things that are, like you said, real and tangible, like that shit takes so much time. Like it takes time. You can't build wealth in a day. That shit takes years to build. I ain't gonna lie, bro. So you gotta just get ready to grind for the long haul, honestly. You doing? Chat, he's gay. Yeah, this nigga's trash, bro.
Is content designed to make you emotional, so you act upon it immediately without thinking. Now, as for attacking this entire tech oligarchy system that we're living in, this post-capitalist society, whatever you want to call it, individual actions do help, but political action is also required. There are ongoing debates around things like regulating stock buybacks, increasing transparency for influencers promoting financial products, and tightening rules around companies going public without sustainable business models. So if you want to follow people who are breaking down these topics in an easy to digest way, I'm going to leave some links in the description. At a smaller scale, where you choose to put your money matters. We as consumers are the ones in control of the market, so when you spend money on small companies providing actual value and avoid ones that rely purely on hype or manipulation, you start shifting incentives. Lastly, please listen to this one. Your attention is the greatest currency to these companies. One way to think about this that I saw on Substack recently is to put it like this.
That's actually true. That's something that's really like true when it comes to like, that's why they be advertising so much. You know, they spend like damn near half of their fucking profits and shit on advertisement, because like you got to get more eyes on you no matter what. No matter how, like, your business could be trash, but if you get eyes on it, and like at least let's say you show your ad to, use very small numbers, 100 people, and then 10 people out of that 100 see your video or actually look into your company and buy something from you, you just made 10 sales. You scale that up, that 10% could be huge. You show your video to 1 million people and 100,000 fuck with it, that's crazy. You show your video to 10 mil and 1 million fuck with it, that is crazy. So that's why they advertise so goddamn much, because when you get more eyes on your shit, and you don't even need everybody you show to actually even like fuck with you. You don't need that. You just need like a fraction of the percentage to fuck with you, and you'll grow respectfully.
Spend 8 hours a day scrolling on something like TikTok or Instagram Reels. That means you are technically working for Meta or TikTok for 8 hours. You are making them 8 hours worth of money without you getting paid. You're essentially working for them for free, but what you're really paying for is your limited time, mental resources, energy, and critical thinking skills.
Especially limited time, because you don't have a lot of time as a person, right? You could die early, or you could just be, especially now, you could die early. I don't even gotta say no other reason. You could die immediately. You could die tomorrow, and you're giving them that valuable ass thing, that time that you could be spending doing anything else, watching your favorite TV show, being with your family. You're spending it scrolling bullshit. I do it too. I scroll bullshit all the time. You know, I scroll. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, at the end of the day, I also make the videos. So you know what I'm saying? I'm scrolling and make it. So it's a little different, but yeah, man.
Does it really sound appealing to you now? Keep fucking talking about these things, man. Talk about how awful it is for everyone and influence more people to stop participating in this system as much as is reasonably possible. Because the more people understand the game, the harder it becomes to run it the same way.
Like one thing about me, man, when it came to gambling, I just thought to myself, if the house always wins, why? If the house wins at the end of the day, why the fuck am I gambling? If there's no way for the better to win over the house at the end of the day, why am I gambling? Because long term, I'm losing. I'm just gonna lose. I'm losing, and I hate to lose that many times. So I'm not gonna play.
Let me know your thoughts and other solutions in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy my video about why.
Hey man, but with that being said, make sure you like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. This is a great video, man. I really fuck with this, bro. You know what I'm saying? We are low-key inheriting a scam economy, but you can fix that. And shit like that, man. But with that being said, man, I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we out.